the documentary part of the
Did
show
you include
until
Tilly?
he gets here. Yeah, I got Luciani, Wong, Douglas, Tilly, Keys, and Ashdown. Who else has co-hosted at some point? Can you think of anybody who has stepped in as the co-host?
I don't know, but the documentary portion has begun apparently.
Oh, yes, it has.
Don't look at the camera.
I'm not. But I do want to tell our viewers in this case what they are looking at is the pre-taping to our 5th anniversary special, for which we have brought back.
I can't stop looking at it.
We have brought back the Zach Cooper, who is sitting across from me right here, and we couldn't get the Ken Rodney into the studio, but we do have his photo hanging on the wall up there.
He's always with
there
us.
It is. And I believe that shot is from a taping of Got Game, if I am not
I think
mistaken.
it might have been a live edition. Yeah,
Wait,
one of the few.
And I'll bring it up when we start the show. But one of the most epic things that came from the history of this show was during the live episodes, which was
I think
which is always the best.
Does it rhyme with Schmen, Schmodney, Schmantz?
Yes, it does.
All right.
Yeah, it does.
I like it.
It's Ben Vodney Prance. It's what
That's
it
pretty
actually
special too. I like
that is
that.
special.
I like
This
that.
is special. I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
What? How do you guys feel about starting the show?
Open
If,
up the Got
Yeah,
Game
no
folder.
spoilers on that list.
Huh?
In the Burley?
Oh, you want me to open up the Got Game? Folder?
Yeah.
This is all very riveting for.
This is how the magic
No,
happens.
well, this is behind the scenes.
Yes, this is what happens.
Brought to you by Steven.
I looked at the
this
camera.
I think this is
Hi,
the first
Steven.
time.
Steven,
aside-
say hi.
Yeah, that's our intern Steven waving.
Yeah, there it is. It's a nice big wave too.
There you go.
We got a great
got it.
image
That was
of your
that was
hand.
very robotic. That was like the elbow didn't move. It was just
He's ready. You know, it's
from the
prime
Hall
time.
of Presidents.
It's ready for prime
I think
time.
this is the first time our listeners have seen inside the Got Game studios, aside from a few pictures that we have tweeted from time to time. But
This is where the magic happens.
this is where the magic happens.
I'm just going to take this computer.
very graceful.
This is also the last time the magic is going to
Yeah.
happen because Calhoun is going to
Pass me
destroy
the mouse.
the studio.
It's gonna Hulk smash it.
is-
I kind of had a list of names there that I wanted to read from.
No, you don't get to anymore.
If possible.
All right.
Put it on your phone.
You
Oh,
had
yeah,
approximately
that's a good
48
idea.
seconds.
Hey.
I like that idea. I like that idea. Hang on,
This is so
let me
cool.
try to get my.
Your phone is always on the table. How is it the one time you need it, it's not on the table?
Okay, so during this time, Steven, can you please entertain for the video? If you can just kind of like do something. Yeah, that's cool. That works. Just stare at it. Stare at the camera awkwardly. Yeah. Yeah. it's-
Yeah.
Ladies, I'm pretty sure Steven is single.
Why would you
Are
assume
you?
that?
Oh!
He's actually not. Boom.
You
Boom.
have
Well
just
played.
made somebody very upset.
Who would that be?
Who would that be? Who are we making upset, Steven?
Give that man a mic, right? Just give him a mic. Send
Yeah.
a little love to the lady.
Yeah.
That's Rebecca Brooker. She actually is a video game designer.
Is she? Ooh. Hang on. You got to come over
I think
here
you
and
got to
say
plug
into
the
mic. Yeah.
studio too. Does she? Is it a company or is she solo?
You gotta say her name.
Get her mic.
Move over.
What's your lady's name?
Rebecca Brooker,
And she does what?
video game designer
Nice.
Where?
Where?
at Arcadium Incorporated. I think Incorporated. I can't really remember.
Wow.
Cool.
Nice, good stuff right
There was
there.
a lot of
I like
Brett
that.
Laurie love right there when you were
That's pretty
doing
much
that
what
on the
the
camera.
That was what the interview was when he's like, "Oh, I want this job." He's like, "Well, what are your qualifications?" I'm dating somebody who makes video games.
And I
Okay,
have a Brett
done.
Laurie shirt on.
yeah, that's it.
And were you sleeping during the interview because you seem to not remember that he is a significant other?
What
Did you
interview?
forget why you hired him?
All right, cool. All right,
Hang on. I just got to write these down quickly.
this is. I am very excited to see the unedited video feed of this.
Well, the good news is that we have no editing equipment, so this is just going to have to go up as is because we don't have a computer that can cut this down.
This is very exciting.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be beautiful. Yeah.
Windows Movie Maker.
If you're volunteering, if you can do it, it's your job.
You've got a lot of new jobs, by the way. We haven't debriefed you on this.
Yes.
I like
Okay,
how I'm speaking
we-
on behalf
I'm
of the show.
I'm
yes.
ready if you're ready.
Yeah.
Okay.
Old
Are you ready?
habits
You ready,
die
Steven?
hard.
All right. Here we go.
I like it. I like
Here we
it.
go.
So
ready?
I have a lot of audio clips right here. Can you just turn me up?
Yeah, make sure that the email or whatever is closed so you don't get those dings and rings and whatever.
Yeah, I don't see any email.
All right.
I don't think so.
No dings or rings.
No dings or rings. We will
Okay.
take some blings, though, if you want.
All right.
So
like
yeah,
some
if I think a
ching-ching.
situation pops up, I'll just play something.
All right, here we go. Ready? Are we going to do an intro for the show? I don't think we should. I think we should just go into the show.
Yeah, let's just go straight into
Okay.
it.
Let's just do it, man.
Let's just do
go.
it. Okay, all right, here we go.
This is the 5th anniversary. Come on.
Here we go. 3, 2, and 1. This is a very special, and I mean, I'm going to underline special edition of Got Game on Sportsnet 590 The Fan. Today marks the fifth anniversary for the show. I am Momin Qureshi, joined as always by Brian Calhoun and Christine Chubb. And since it's our 5th anniversary, we dug into the vault and brought back one of the original voices. He now works at Ubisoft. He is known to you as Zachary Poindexter Cooper.
Very uncomfortable in that vault. Thank you for finally bringing me out.
Well, we're glad you could join us.
It feels good, man.
Yeah, you tore yourself away from the blacklist for a little while. We
Yeah.
appreciate that. Now, we did want to get one Ken Rodney on the show, and we tried desperately. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. I shot some texts back and forth with him. He wanted to be here, but we couldn't work it out. But he is here with us in spirit. If you're watching the video that we have up on Sportsnet.
He is still alive, though.
Yes, he is. Yes. But as are you, well, part of the reason we had you on is because we need to prove that you are indeed alive. Since you left 2 years ago, you are still very much functioning.
Otherwise, we're just taking your word for it about Ken, though, basically.
Either that or we have a really great Zach Cooper impressionist in studio right now.
All right, cool.
Somebody's fantastic. But we do have Ken's picture hanging on the wall here. So if you're watching the video at sportsnet590.ca, you can see his face up there. I can't believe we're at 5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I really can't. This show started before I was even a part of it, really, because Zach and Brian and Ken, you guys did a little bit of a demo, and took it to our boss at the time, Doug Fairway, and said, we have this idea for a show. Here it is. You presented it to him. I mean, and I came on when you guys had your first official episode, but what was that process like?
That process was basically me fighting them to bring you on to get a Nintendo guy.
Right, yeah, that's why.
You were the Nintendo guy.
That's right, I was, yeah.
Very little
Still am.
changes.
Can you-
yeah.
can
You
bet?
say fighting like I was against Moment Beyond the show.
It was a physical altercation. There were 3 rounds, each at 3 minutes, because it wasn't a main event.
Right.
You were the Nintendo guy. I mean,
Right, I understand.
Yeah, but it
We
worked.
played rock,
out-
paper,
it worked out
scissors,
pretty
and-
well. Yeah.
You played dog, paper, scissors?
Rock.
Oh, I heard dog.
With actual rocks, papers, and scissors.
I understand.
But they were the kid scissors, so they're not very sharp.
Right.
I don't know. There's still
They
a scar
lost every
right
time.
here that hasn't healed properly.
So I remember, before you guys went in there, I was talking to Doug about doing something like this, and then I tried, and it went nowhere. And
Ken
then,
was also talking
Yeah, that's
to
right.
Doug and Nelson Millman at the time.
That's
about
right.
this.
Yeah, because I remember I used to cover gaming for 680, still do, and Ken was doing it here, and we tried for a while, it didn't happen. And then I remember, Zach, you were really keen on it because you were doing updates at the Fan at the time, and you kept asking me every week, what's going on with the show? And then one week you came up to me and he's like, we're doing the show. And I was like, okay. And then off we went. And here we are 5 years
We were
later.
holding hands.
It's true.
That was the visual I had.
That was your moment.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
shared your
Yeah.
moment.
It was lovely. That's
Off into the sunset.
Yeah, there was a sunset.
it was true. There was.
How did Chubb get involved?
Chubb came around after Ken left. When Ken decided to walk away and leave the show, and we decided to shun him for life. We needed a fill-in, and
I was just filling enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see, that's
Well, I remember.
that was terrible.
I remember we had you fill in for I think an episode or 2 at that point, and we had a little powwow between the 3 of us, Brian and Zach and myself, and we said, "Why don't we bring her on full
I
time?"
think she was on with the Luch a couple of times.
That's right.
And I was on vacation. I came back. I said, you know what, that sounded really good. And then I fought you guys again. And
This time we added Lizard Spock in, and we just did the five thing.
I appreciate that respect.
Yeah.
with a little
That's good.
little Big Bang in there. Is
That's
that what
right.
that was?
That's
Look
right.
at you.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah, and that's how Christine came aboard. So it's been a wonderful 5 years.
You're so much more than a fill-in.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. Oh, she's a permanent. You've been permanent for how long? Like 2.5 years.
2.5 years now.
Yeah.
And how did Steven get involved in the program?
Steven's been around for a whole 6 weeks now, I think, or 5 weeks. How did Steven get involved, Brian?
Do the people
sent
know
an
about
email.
Steven?
They don't even know who Steven is. Steven is our Got Game intern who's been around for a little while, helping us out. Steven, yell something out.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah, there he is.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Steven sent me an email. That's the story. not really a complicated story there. Not much of a narrative.
The screening process at Got Game is intense. Like you have to go through a rigorous screening process to get yourself through the door here.
You
Do
have
you
to be able
remember-
to write an email. That's
Steven, do
competent.
you remember what the subject line of that email was? Untitled. It was untitled.
That's what caught Brian's attention. He's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, who sends me an email without
So
a subject line?
mysterious. Yeah.
Without a subject line, I gotta check this email." But it has been 5 years, and there are some people that I would like to thank. First of all, Don Collins, Dave Cadeau, and Jason Rozon, who are here right now and are big supporters of the show. They keep us on the air, even though we are generally messing around every week. But we put our heart and soul into it, and we appreciate having their support. Doug Fairway, who gave us the original OK and kind of set us on our way after a while, and Nelson Nelson Millman, who was the program director at the time. So those 5 people were instrumental in getting us on the air and carrying us through the 5 years. And throughout the years, Christine Chubb was not the only fill-in host that we've had. We've had a number.
Who else was there, Moment?
We had Patrick Luciani, who still does it from time to time.
Yes.
We had Rob Wong, who was the first fill-in host I think we had. And he
was that Call of Duty with the...
Yeah, the Modern Warfare with the night vision goggles.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember he had just finished an overnight, and he stuck around to do it for us, and he was pretty wiped, but he troopered through. He did a couple times because he was on, I think, during our NHL 10 maybe or 9, I don't know what it was, episode. We've also had Steve Tilley and Tim Ashdown has filled in a few times, and one Robert Keys.
All very admirable people.
Yes, and another person who doesn't work here anymore but did one time, Scott Douglas, also filled in.
Scotty D.
Yeah, he did our Red Dead Redemption
That's
review.
who it was. It was you and Scotty D. It wasn't
That's right.
Luch wasn't around then.
It was the Christmas episode.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Yes.
Right. We did our review because you were on vacation.
I was in Jamaica. I remember that.
Nice.
Yeah.
You went to Jamaica instead of doing our year-end special? You fool.
How dare I?
How dare you?
That's why he's not here anymore.
That's right. That's why we kicked him out. We just locked the door after he left.
Was not committed.
But yeah, I remember Douglas did our Red Dead Redemption review for us, and he gave it a very fantastic score, as I remember, and rightfully so. Rightfully so.
Yeah.
That's actually going to be the name of this show from now on. Rightfully so.
I like it.
I think that's how we should do it. Let me go around the table and ask. When we started, did you guys think we'd hit 5 years? Like, let's be honest here.
Let's be honest. Who thought we were going to be like 5 weeks? Because I thought maybe give us a month and that was it. We were done.
I definitely, I kind of had like a week-to-week vibe going on.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it obviously took a while to finally get on air, and it had been a battle, at least, video games on a sports radio station. I think, you know, even 5 years ago, the games were a huge deal, obviously. I'm not going to discount that, but I think trying to convince the decision makers that games were a big enough deal to our audience, you know, the people who tune in to the Fan 590 or Sportsnet 590 The Fan, you know, they would not turn their radios off, basically.
Right.
I think that was a bit of a mission in itself.
And that was a gradual step because our idea was basically, let's just pitch him on this show. And I'm not saying that they were not open to that idea, but it took a little bit of
There was some
convincing.
fighting.
Yeah.
Combat.
A lot of rock, paper, scissors.
3 rounds, 3 minutes each.
Yeah.
And it ended up being the Got Game blog that
Yep.
sort of sealed the deal because I think I was writing on that for maybe like 6 months before the show actually happened.
I saw his Fear 2, or was it Fear? It was the original Fear
Was it?
blog. I don't know what it was. It was one of those Fear games. And I remember I wanted to check it out, and I saw his blog, and I was like, oh, okay, so maybe I'll check this out. And I talked to him about it. I was like, hey, man, like, how long have you been doing this? And he told me some
days.
amount of
I don't
time.
know.
And I said, I also like to do this kind of stuff. Maybe we could work together. And he was kind of like, screw you. And then...
I feel like this is a great dramatization of what happened, like the actual conversation.
And then we saw each other at opposite ends of the hallway, and we started to run, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it turned into slow motion.
And was there music
And
playing?
there was a beach, and there was a jumping high five, and we almost actually made hand-to-hand contact, but he slipped and fell, and I actually just kept ascending through the air. And at one point, the ceilings, they have these weird kind of tiles in the ceilings here,
Right.
and I went right through it, and I got stuck. And it wasn't until he got up, he composed himself, and he helped me down that I, realized that we could have a solid working relationship.
You realize he had your back.
He had my back.
Yes. Yeah, that's kind of
Literally.
Because I had to grab onto your shirt to get a grip.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful story. We should do a video remake of that moment.
We do have video.
We do.
Yeah. I'm looking at you.
Let's wave to the camera.
I don't wave.
The first few months of our show, we really had to. A lot of the time was spent trying to figure out what we were going to do.
It was a little rough. Let's be
What
honest.
was the content? Were we doing like monthly sales and stuff? I feel like there were a lot of NPD reports.
Yeah, we were doing a lot
yeah.
of that stuff. One of the segments that we used to have, which we don't do anymore, was remember we used to have parting shots at the end.
Yeah, that was a great segment.
Yeah,
loved those.
We used to save about 2 minutes at the end of every show to do parting shots, and the four of us would try to find something good to talk about. And a lot of times it was funny. That's where the whole the chase of Eliza Dushku came from, because it was one of my parting shots one episode.
Yes.
That's where that whole
The pursuit
thing came
that hasn't ended.
The pursuit that goes on forever.
Yeah, and I think the one problem that we had with the parting shots is that we always never left enough time.
Yeah.
Always never. And we get to the point where I think Calhoun might have the last one and be like, sorry, buddy, your time's up. Sorry. Wrap it up. Wrap it up.
That's everything I've done on this show.
If I had one of those Nike Fuel bands back then, I swear I would have had so many points just from telling you to wrap it up. Just, you know what? Let's... Done.
Every comment, every review.
All right, buddy, you're done. All right, let's move on.
Calhoun's been on the radio for about 10 seconds. That's it.
You are to us what Matt Damon is to Jimmy Kimmel. We just never have enough time for you.
I like it.
We just wrap it up. We just can't. We don't have time for you. It's awesome.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things is we've done the show live a few times.
Yeah.
I'd say in the history of our show, we've done it live maybe 5 or 6 times in the 5 years. Mm-hmm. We haven't done that in a while because our time slot now is on Sunday morning, and none of us we're too lazy to come in that time to do it. But every time we did do it live, Ken Rodney would always do this amazing...
Let's say we're all busy with other workloads at that time.
That's true. That is also true. Actually, it is true. Actually, in some of our cases. But I remember every time we did a live show and the music went off, Ken Rodney would do this amazing dance. And it always made me sad that listeners never got to see it because it was...
Would you like to try and recreate it for our viewers?
I think I would do it injustice if
I think everyone would.
I think yeah. It was with the opening theme, and he would get up and really get into it. And we tweeted a couple of pictures of it once. And
those also didn't do it justice.
No, but people really took to it, and it makes me sad that doesn't happen anymore. But what are you gonna do, you guys? Do you have any highlights that you want to bring up?
I'm feeling really uneasy. I can't see the clock, and I'm feeling uneasy about how much time is left in this segment.
We're at 11:50, if you'd like to know.
Okay, it's good. So, I'm not used to being on this side. It's so weird.
You know what? That's actually a great point.
I'm completely out of control.
On all the years you've been on the show, you've either been on this side where I'm sitting in the host chair, or you've been over the phone, when you're doing your...
From jury duty. yeah.
That's something we need to talk about.
Can you guys put this trial on hold for a sec? I got a show to do.
I forgot that you joined us from jury duty.
Yeah.
That was you missed like how many shows? 6 shows or something at that point.
I was on that trial for a while.
Yeah.
It was one of the best experiences of my life.
What year was that?
I was 2 years ago.
That was like
not.
I feel like that was like November, December of 2010, maybe.
No. It was November, December of 2011.
Oh,
because it was basically right around that time that I had started to hear from Ubisoft Toronto.
Right.
And it was about that time where Nadine was winding down the pregnancy, and our daughter would eventually be born in a matter of months, and life reflection and new opportunity and life changes. But that was a big part of my decision-making process. Learning that I could live a 9-to-5 kind of life.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think that was actually pretty big for us too, because we kind of had to make do without you, and that's during those weeks.
Also, now we have 9-to-5 lives.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it was during those weeks that I ended up sitting in the host chair for the first time, and we kind of figured out that we don't need this Zach guy. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. We don't need him here.
I wouldn't be totally sure about that.
He's kind of...
There's a clip.
There's a clip.
So that's Jay Boer from Konami talking about why in the world they are still making PS2 games. Interesting. Still to come on 6-8. That is a little bit of me coming out.
Wrong radio station.
Well, if you want to play that fight, let's go back to when Zach first hosts, because
oh boy,
when you first host a show, it's a little intimidating. It's easy to make mistakes.
Dan Vondrak from X-Men Origins Wolverine. It's in stores now. It's in theaters now. We'll find out his thoughts on the game next on the Game Plan.
Oh man,
amazing.
I think at that time I had just been filling in on the game plan.
That was really early. That was like the first month of the show.
X-Men Wolverine was like our first or second show, or second or third show. It was very, very early on. That's just a couple of clips that we're going to play as you take you down memory lane on this 5th anniversary edition of Got Game on Sportsnet 590 The Fan.
The game plan.
The game plan. I should have said the game plan.
That's awesome.
I just want to go into segment 2.
Yeah.
Without any plan at all.
Very much. We skipped over a little bit more than I thought we were going to be. I thought we talked about the show a little bit more, like how we started.
Yeah.
We can.
Okay.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, and 1. This is the game plan on sport. No, this is Got Game on Sportsnet 590 The Fan.
I sure hope the listeners were listening to that first segment.
If you didn't hear that first segment, you have no idea what I'm talking about. That's okay. You're listening to Got Game on Sportsnet 590 The Fan. It is our very special 5th anniversary edition. You can follow us on Twitter at GotGame590. Check out our blog at sportsnet590.ca. I am Omen Qureshi, Brian Calhoun, and Christine Chubb, the regular co-hosts on this show, back around the table. We're rejoined by original host Zach Cooper, who now works for Ubisoft Toronto, who's been nice enough to take some time out of paying attention to Splinter Cell Blacklist to pay attention to us.
It's a pleasure. This is awesome.
Yeah. It's been good times. We reminisced a bit about the early days of the show, and I know, Brian, you want to kind of go back down that road.
That's the most awkward way to throw it to me. Just start talking, Brian, about how the show was and be.
Well, ultimately, we know you want to play another clip. So what?
I know. We know that's where you're going.
Well, I just had...
Fine, I'll play it.
Sure. Let's just get this out of the way. I just figured we start at the very beginning.
Okay.
Back before Got Game actually started. Now, Got Game started, as I slightly mentioned a little bit in the last segment. First, it was a blog, and then that blog got a lot of attention. In fact, that blog was number 3
in Canada.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, of all the blogs in Canada.
Yeah,
that was
it was a very big deal.
Yeah.
It was Google, YouTube, Got Game.
Pretty much. On the station.
Oh, okay.
You know, after Mike Wilner and his Blue Jay blog and
probably the Raptors. I'm going to say
Leafs and Raptors.
You know what? It might have changed from season to season depending on what sport team was up there. But
trying to remember what season it was. No one knows.
Holiday season?
All right, Leafs.
There you go.
Yeah.
And Blue Jays off season. Winter meetings.
Yeah.
But Got Game, the blog itself is normally in the top 3. And that's really what pushed us over the edge. That was what really convinced Don and, Nelson Millman actually at the time and Doug that this could actually be something. Someone would be interested in listening to us talk about video games. And I don't know why, but they've stuck around. I'm happy they stuck around.
Me too.
Every day I do the show, I think, is anyone really going to be interested in what we have to say? And they seem to be, and I'm happy, but I don't understand why.
I doesn't get it.
No, I don't get. I don't get this show.
Steven, do you know? No.
No.
All right.
Steven doesn't know. Steven doesn't even know why he agreed to this internship. I should have put something in that subject line of the email.
I didn't even mean to send it to Got Game. I was trying to get the fantasy show.
Yeah, he actually asked me if I was Alex Cicero when he came in one day. I was like, no. And that would just make Cicero so upset. Just don't bring that
explains
up.
why he confused me for Ben Ennis.
There you go.
Huh.
There you go.
It's all coming together now.
Yeah, I mean, and to maybe just talk about it a bit, the biggest reason why we're here is our listeners. We're very lucky to have a very loyal segment of listeners who listen every week and who tweet us all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And several of them we've met in person many times, and they've become friends of ours and Facebook friends, and we see them at Fan Expo and other events around the city, and they are awesome, and we love them very much, and they're what keep us going, and they're the reason we do the show. And
now you're transcending it into viewers as well.
Yeah,
there we
hello.
go.
You gotta plug the video blog aspect, behind the scenes access.
Wait until we end up on Sportsnet 1. It's going to be amazing.
Whoa.
It's going to be Primetime Sports, us.
Or the Score now.
Or the Score,
That's crazy.
That's right, the Score.
I think that's the in right there.
That is the in.
Your people.
That's right. The wheels are turning. Let me just make a note of it on my phone.
They just started turning?
Well, it took 5 years.
Okay.
That's
fair.
I had to gas up the tank for a while.
Yeah.
Are you gonna play some footage from our early days or no?
No.
It's like, screw you guys. You just threw it to me and told me to talk.
All right. So you're really
I
not
was never good at that.
Oh, okay.
And that was a weird thing from starting the show from day one to now. I'm still not that great at what we do. I'll be honest. I don't think I am.
Are you like just defaming the show as we're on the air?
I
Yes.
think he's looking for some compliments at this. Pick him back
Brian,
up, man.
you're wonderful. You're
Well,
an
you know what?
important part.
But from day one to now, I think I've come like leaps and bounds.
I would
agree.
wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I would
the
wholeheartedly
first couple
agree.
of episodes.
Yeah, just the first two.
Yeah.
They were a little
Those
rough around
first
the
two.
edges.
I think by
By the
episodes-
third one, it's like, I'm ready to host the
I think
show.
by episodes you mean years, but that's okay.
No, I think it was after the third episode. That's when you started
Talking?
putting it out there that you wanted to host the show. You're like, all right, my turn.
Well, I mean, he was Bob McCowan by episode 3. I mean, that was it. He came in sunglasses and all, and he was just ready to roll and destroy the show in a good way.
Okay.
Yeah, it was you know, you definitely have gotten so much better, and I think it took us a while to figure out who talks when and what we do, but I think eventually we figured it out and we sound pretty good.
And this show, the point I was trying to get to is that this show has evolved over time. I mean, like, I miss having Ken on the show as much as anyone, but I felt that once Ken left, and no offense, Ken, because
he's pointing to Ken every time he mentions his name, by the way.
The picture of Ken is so great because Ken is like, it looks like he's right in the middle of a very important point in the picture that we have up there.
But Ken was always a hard act to follow.
Yeah. Well,
and I felt I could grow a little bit more.
This is the Tom Brady moment right here.
Once Ken was, once Ken moved on to his new gig and found, employment where he is now.
And fame and fortune.
Yeah. And no offense, Zach, but the same thing for you. It's like
every time someone leaves, he gets better.
Yeah, well, because I'm forced to get better because either the show suffers or we all get better.
Yeah.
And at some point, let's face it, life's going to go on. Someone may leave, and then we're going to have to
notice that he said that
again.
After Ken left, he got better, and after you left, he got better.
Yeah.
The rest of us apparently were terrible, but
no
kept getting better.
No room for improvement. No room for improvement.
Brian kept getting better, but the show remained terrible. Perhaps one of my most favorite things in this entire show's history is the epic battles that would go down between Calhoun and Ken. They were just
most of those off air.
Yeah, they were. I remember. In the first 3 years of the show, I think I missed 1 or 2 episodes, and one of them was in July of 2010. I went to visit my sister, or in June of 2010, I went to visit my sister who was doing her master's at the time in England, and I went there and I was there for a week, and I missed 1 show in total, and you sent me an email or something being like, dude, you missed the best show ever we've ever had in our life. It was amazing.
Because when you leave, I get better.
But I don't know what happened, but somehow you guys had a discussion about hockey and something.
Oh, this is... okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So something happened.
Right now, like, this whole thing is like 3 minutes long. We can't play it all for a number of reasons, including... We'd all get
what's the clock looking like? Do we have enough time?
Yeah, we're at 7 minutes. We're good.
I'm going to play just what happened on air. I don't think we can even get away with what's off air, but here's what happened on air.
Well, the game's not done yet.
I'm going to assume that that's just lack of hockey knowledge more than it is.
I played 19 years. I refereed too. Don't question my hockey knowledge.
No, I'm questioning.
Don't bring that up.
I'm questioning your hockey.
Don't bring that to the table.
You can do that when we get into the break.
Well, the rest of that we can't play. But that
wasn't even the magical part.
Yeah.
No, but there's like 3 minutes of you guys, and you guys being you and Ken, going off on me in different ways. We have different scenarios. Remember the TV show Pure Ownage? Or the internet thing? Yeah. At one point, you guys incorporate that into it. Like HD televisions were incorporated. You guys brought everything.
It turned into like the equivalent of an Audible meme, where it was just like, I was a referee for 15 years, and I cut people if I had to. Don't mess with me.
And I remember I wasn't even there for that moment. I just remember like after I got back, it was every break, every time we were somewhere, it would just come up, and it would be about anything. Don't question me about NASCAR. I watched NASCAR for 20 years. Yeah. It was just ridiculousness. And I just remember reading the email from you like, you just missed the best show we've ever had in our life.
P.S. Don't come back. We're all better without you.
You haven't improved at all.
Oh, it's just so good. It's so good. And then one of the things that I think that led to the evolution of the show is we got to get out and do stuff and get to events and stuff.
We all got let out of the vault.
Yeah. It was great. We're going to put you back in there at the end of the show, by the way.
Can't wait. I've stretched out my legs. I'm pretty much good for the next 5 years.
Good. Yeah, we got to...
Will we make 10 years?
We'll find out. Week to week, baby.
It's worked so far. It's going well. Yeah, but in our first couple of months, our first year or maybe year and a half, we had to really work hard to get our name out there and get in contact with all the publishers and all the studios. And eventually we started getting invited to events and stuff like that. And we went out there, we're like, oh my God, this is awesome. We got invited.
They have sandwiches. They feed us.
The food is one of the most epic parts of this show. The finger sandwiches. That was always Ken's thing. When you get to an event, you'd be like, were the finger sandwiches good? Were they good finger sandwiches? Were they good? They were good. They were good. They were good.
Mediocre. I don't like that game either.
But that's when we got to meet some of our fellow gaming journalists who we've established great relationships with over the last few years.
I would say before we go on that sandwiches, although a major part of the show as we were doing it those first few years, not the biggest part of the show.
What was the biggest part, Brian?
Let the world see what you have got. Bring it all back to you.
I like
Ding, fries are done. Ding, fries are done. Ding, fries are done.
Would you like some fries with that? No, it's apple pie. Would you like an apple pie with that?
To me for everything that I had and kicked me out of my home. Are you ready? Are you satisfied? How long is the heat? Baby on board. How I adore that sign in your car's window pane. You do all the words to Baby on Board.
Clearly, singing was the biggest part of the show.
That's a big deal.
Kind of a big deal.
Big deal. This show was clearly meant for FM.
Oh, yeah, the musical interludes that would happen. We'd come in here to tape a show, and we could, in theory, be done in 40 minutes, but we'd be done in 2 hours because an hour and 20 minutes was musical interludes.
Yeah, there was way too much. What was that? S Club 7.
Oh, yes.
That's what I'm looking for.
That's what you heard some of right there.
Oh, that was that? All right.
Yeah.
I just remember you and Ken, when it would start, I'd just be like, I don't know what's happening right now.
But amazingly, you knew
And then
all the
Calhoun
lyrics.
gets the Calhoun grin, and yeah, special time.
I'm looking for it. There was one time Ken did not want to sing. It's sad that we actually know 2 songs.
It's sad that if he keeps going, Ken's going to get in the groove.
I know more than 2 songs, too.
Jesus.
Let's not have this competition.
All right.
Don't stop, never give up. Keep your head
Stop
high
it.
and reach
Stop
the
it.
top.
You
Let
shut
the
up.
world see what
Shut
you
your
have got.
mouth.
Bring it all back to you.
Shut it.
Ken, I know you know the next verse.
Not doing it.
Yeah, that was obviously, it wasn't me being mean. That was from Step Brothers. That
Yeah.
was you're sounding stupid right now.
Yeah.
That's what that was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
A little bleepage necessary for that one.
We definitely, I mean, Christine and I will break out into song every now and then, which
That
is
is one of the reasons Zach and I met was when we used to work at 680 and he was at the Fan. We would work on the weekends and we would get into random little songs where we would just be like singing not songs that weren't even songs. We would just start
They're jam
randomly
sessions,
jamming.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty
I
awesome.
make
6A News is like the set of Glee or something.
Yes,
A little bit.
it is.
basically, yeah.
It's actually loosely based on 680 News. Glee is. They came through our studio one day and just wrote a show about us. It was fantastic.
They wiped out the whole news radio aspect of it.
No, we don't need that part. Just take that
We'll
out.
set it in a high school instead.
That makes more sense. That's much better.
Yeah.
But you and I were breaking out in a song every now and then. But the song quotient has definitely diminished since Ken and Zach vacated the studios. Yeah, it makes me
Steven,
sad.
we're looking at you here.
That's right, buddy.
All right? You play much
Yeah.
Bioshock, you could be Songbird. Songbird on the show. There it
Yeah.
is.
That would
like
be
it.
awesome.
Yeah.
That would be quite fantastic. Christine, do you have any memories that you want to bring to the table?
No.
How are we doing on time? Sorry, we don't have time for your
We don't have
memories.
time for my memories.
Sorry, Chubb.
I swear, speaking of lack of time, I remember when I first started. Obviously, I was a newbie. I didn't know what was going on. And I was given, I don't even remember what game it was to review, but it was kind of a big game. And they left me right to the end. And Zach turned to me, he's like, "You've got 3 minutes." And I had pages and pages of notes because I was so prepared. And I was like, oh my God, what was I going to say? What was it? Oh, it's Dragon Age 2. That's what it
yeah.
was. And I was just like, how do I do this whole game in 3 minutes? And I think I talked the fastest I have ever talked in the history of the world.
She
to
got
get
all
through
her
that.
notes in, just compressed into that time. Yeah.
She didn't just say it's a game 6 and then just leave it.
That might be one of my favorite moments.
That is one of the best moments in the history of this show.
Calhoun wrapping up a review with me doing the wrap it up.
Once
buddy.
again,
and he
everything ends up like this.
he like flings his arms back behind him. He says, "It's a game 6." Done.
And that happened in our first 6 months, and it became like a catchphrase throughout the entire show. Like, it's a game 6.
I'm fairly certain we reference that every probably 9 to 10 weeks, and our listeners are like, "What the hell are they talking about?"
Yeah, it was fantastic. We have more of those fantastic memories coming up as we walk down memory lane on the 5th anniversary edition of Got Game on Sportsnet 590 The Fan.
On the 5th edition.
The 5th edition.
The 5th
Episode
edition.
5.
Episode number 5.
Yeah.
Once a year, we convince him. Let us on the air.
Are you going to be playing a lot of clips of this episode? This segment?
episode?
This segment?
Just as they come up. I don't know.
Is there somewhere you want us to go?
Yeah, you got a lot of stuff there. We can chit chat around it.
Well, it doesn't really make sense for me to play a clip and
Just
then
play them all in order.
And then here, and then.
I have
No,
Ken
and then.
Rodney talking about Maxim magazine because it was the cleanest Ken Rodney clip I could find.
A clean Ken Rodney clip talking about Maxim seems like a really kind of...
After the show, it got
yeah,
filthy.
Yeah, I believe it.
Okay, so I may have edited down a little bit, but it
Okay.
was a nice example of Ken Rodney I could find because I wanted to have some vocals of Ken Rodney in this episode. But I don't know.
Let's listen to it first. He said it was clean.
Way to find a clean clip.
I will bleep those out. Don't worry.
This doesn't go very well for Ken.
No, don't play this clip. He won't be
I have every Maxim ever.
Yeah,
You want to just listen to the end of it, just for the heck of it?
Oh, hang on. Ken just sent me something. He said, I sent something. Hope you get it before you finish recording and stuff.
Like a voice note?
That's funny.
Oh, I'd love to have that jacket. What other clips you got there? You got any good ones?
Whatever. Microphone test.
Let's hear that.
Can you open my Outlook?
I'm assuming you can't hear this stuff
I can hear most of it.
through the headphones.
So loud.
Yeah.
It's very loud.
Got my headphones on.
You just sit in the other room with the camera. Hey. No, don't do that.
How much battery life is on
Oh,
that camera
wicked.
anyway?
Okay. can
Never
you,
enough.
You just. Yeah, just let me see this.
So really, this video isn't getting edited at all.
How am I going to edit it? I don't have the capability.
All right,
I think I just said Bob Cowan.
Yeah. Let's
Bob
do the
Cowan.
last segment.
Okay.
All right, here we go. 3, 2,
And one.
No? Okay, fine. I was going to let you do it, but
No, I
fine.
know.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. 3, 2, and 1.
This is I'm just
Thi-
fucking with you.
Okay, here we go. 3, 2. You don't know how often these two fuck me up during the intro because they'll mess me up every time.
We do.
Intentionally?
Intentionally.
Yeah, pretty much.
Very intentionally.
You don't even have to say anything. You just got to look at him and
Yeah.
then.
Here we go.
Brian
3,
Calvin
2,
White.
and 1. This is Got Game on Sportsnet 590. The Fan. I'm Momin Qureshi, Christine Chubb, Brian Calhoun. Around the table, it is our 5th anniversary special edition. We have brought back Zach Cooper into studio, taking some time away from Ubisoft Toronto and Splinter Cell Blacklist to join us.
You know that I'd be at home by now, right?
I do.
Okay.
Why you gotta spoil the illusion?
Well, I'm just saying this.
I wanted to make it.
It's family time, which is even more precious.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. You do
We're
have a
the
lovely,
other family.
You do have a lovely
Yeah.
baby
No, it's
at
true.
home.
Yeah.
You have a lovely baby at home.
Yep.
And she's beautiful. We've seen her. And
We have seen her. There is evidence
She
that
exists.
I've seen
that
evidence
she
of
is
the baby.
alright.
Yeah.
The baby does
I've
exist.
seen a photo or two.
Yes. The Blacklist comes out in August. I'm sure you're
The
working.
Blacklist,
Yeah.
yes.
Working
The
feverishly.
Splinter Cell, the Blacklist. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. August 20th.
It's actually the List.
Yeah.
That's how I phrase it.
Yeah, for the record, it's not
No,
at all.
okay. No, okay. Good to know. Somebody who's not on the show with us right now is
Steven.
Steven, our intern, who's sitting off to our left.
What's up, Steven?
He's
Stephen
made some-
Yell.
Yo!
Yeah.
There it is.
There you
Intern
go.
Steven. It's obviously Ken Rodney, who was one of the original.
What is that
doing?
sound?
Food is making quite the noise in
sounds
the
like,
corner.
It sounds like Brian setting off those bottle caps in honor of Ken. Yeah. It's the equivalent of pouring a 40 on the curb for
Yeah.
Ken. Although he's not dead, he's very much alive.
Yeah.
He is very much alive.
Is there proof of this?
Yes, there is proof of this because he couldn't join us, but he did send me what is commonly known as an electronic mail.
Can I see that was actually from him before
Yeah,
you start
can just
reading
see
it?
There you go.
Okay, we can hear the sound of paper. It does say Ken Rodney signed. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And it's from the email address. I'll give it. So he writes us, "Hey guys, I can't believe it's been 5 years since we launched our little video game show on the radio. Video games will never work on the radio, but I'm happy to say that we proved anyone who thought that way wrong. I'm even happier to see since I left the show that both Moman and Brian have grown so much into their roles, and Christine has really
Filled
been
in nicely.
Christine has really been a great addition
My
to the
grandmother
crew.
used to say all the time.
Hey now.
Christine has been a really great addition to the crew. Cooper, the fact that you were able to make the move from the show to join in the video game industry shows the quality and the reach of the work that we've done. I look forward to being killed off many more times over the next 5 years and seeing the new heights you guys take the little idea that we ran 5 years ago. Best to all, Ken.
Very nicely said.
I,
Calhoun might be burning this place down right now, as a matter of fact. That microphone is very close to that fire.
I have,
get the
I have
other
something in
one's
my eye.
You're a little choked up
I
there.
am, because I think
Steven, can you get him a Kleenex?
I think in about
Here's a microphone case.
So, Ken and I started as interns at the Fan together, so that's like 8 years ago. And in 8 years, all he ever did was rip me. I don't think he ever said anything nice to me. So it makes me.
But that's not just you.
That's how he showed he cared.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well,
That
that
was
is true. If Ken ripped you, that you knew that he liked you, because that was very.
He
much
loved Calhoun.
Oh, he did. Oh,
Absolutely
boy.
loved
Did he
him.
ever
You
love
say
Brian
that,
Calhoun?
but Ken would just ignore you if he didn't like you.
It's true.
No, that's what I'm saying. He
true.
absolutely loved you.
Yeah.
Based on the criteria previously established.
I apologize. With you, sometimes it's hard to, parse out sarcasm from actual.
We did have some
comments.
tete-a-tetes
Yes.
on the air.
More than a few.
Yeah.
More than a few.
That is seriously burning this place to
Oh
the
my
ground.
God, Calhoun has cupcakes
Those are
in the
cupcakes.
studio.
Those are
Again.
fancy cupcakes.
You should really be watching the video of this
Yes, you can.
of this show.
If you go to sportsnet590.ca, you check the God Game
Yeah,
blog,
what do
you'll
we
see a
do
video
with this?
feed. What kind of cupcakes are those, Brian? They have red on the top.
it
They're
looks
cupcake
like vanilla.
They look like chocolat
A little
to
bit
me.
chocolate.
I thought they were red velvet for a second, but they're not.
First listener to email in gets one. Keep the subject line untitled, and you may get employed by the
right.
show.
That's right. There are 5 candles, one for each year that we've been on the show.
Yay.
Or is it one for each permanent co-host we've had on the show? I don't
Actually, it was one for each person in this room.
In the room, yeah. that's
Steven
right.
Steven gets to eat 2 of them,
know. Yeah.
No,
unless
actually,
we
that-
are actually saving one for a listener
That's
No.
the Ken Rodney Memorial Cupcake right there.
with no candle,
It's okay.
Nice.
The way Ken Rodney would want it.
Yeah.
candle free,
Yeah.
Candle free.
or slightly spilled. It looks like you had an accident coming over here.
Ken Rodney.
Careful, man! There are candles on there.
Ken Rodney is a complicated man.
Yeah,
He liked things the way he did.
Yeah, he did.
I'm feeling really uneasy with that. Thank you. The fires.
Well, how come you get to blow out all the candles yourself? Well, we weren't on the show.
I can't get the cupcakes out of it.
It's factual.
So while Brian burns the studio down, I want to talk about the fact that Brian was the first one on the show to decide that he was going to make the trek to Los Angeles and go to E3.
Yeah.
You did that 4 years ago now, because this is gonna be your 4th E3 coming up.
Yeah, actually,
Yeah,
it
it's
will be.
true.
And I remember what I just remember you casually brought it up one day, like, oh, by the way, I'm not gonna be on the show next week. We're like, why?
Yeah, he did it at the last minute, so none of us would want to even consider
Join.
joining him.
It was
He's
great.
like, by the way, I'm going to go and have lots of fun and get lots of coverage, and screw you guys, peace, I'm out of here.
Yeah, it was, and it was pretty much at the end of the show, like 2 weeks before you went. You're like, by the way, I'm not gonna be at a show 2 weeks from now. We're like, where are you gonna be? Oh, I'm gonna be in Los Angeles. What's going on? I'm gonna be at E3.
You are dead to me.
Are you gonna join us? No, I'm not. But eventually you did.
I will
join
not
us.
call in from Los Angeles to provide any news for your video game radio
This
station.
is strictly for me. But you did call us.
It was
and you did join
under
us.
vacation time officially. So,
Yeah.
yeah, vacation.
So screw you, man.
And then the next year, Zach and Christine and I said we're getting in on that action.
Yeah.
And so we went out to Los
Completely
Angeles.
separate from the travel plans of Calhoun as well. He's just like, I'm going, I don't know about you guys, but I'll see you
That
at
was
some
like
point.
the
You
most
all
last-
decide like 3 weeks
It was
before
the last
E3
minute
started.
trip. Of
That's
the
not true.
ultimate last minute trip.
You were
We
like,
decided where we were staying 3 weeks prior.
Well, that's
true.
because you booked us into the Roach Motel where the reviews were like 20%.
Well, that's only because there had been a recent murder there.
you had to share. A
What about all the
bathroom with
previous?
Everyone else on the
What about
floor?
all the previous reviews that were like 2 stars?
For people who haven't heard this story, Zach books the hotel for Christine and I and Zach and says, I got this great hotel. It's $30 a night right in the heart of Los Angeles. We're like, can we see some reviews in this place? And all the reviews like, this place is terrible. Don't come here. Don't leave your hotel room at night. Don't get up early in the morning. Don't carry your wallet on you. Don't.
Yeah, that
Just
would have been
don't.
fine. We were going to be at E3 the whole time
Yeah.
anyways.
So then we were like, maybe we should cancel our booking and go somewhere else where we're going to live. And so we did find a very nice hotel.
You guys weren't up for any adventure at all.
No.
No.
Well, we did get lost a couple times when we were down there and wander in wrong directions.
I don't recall that.
No, we found that cool little
IHOP?
that cool little place.
The Korean place.
We're Korean place, so we watched basketball.
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah, we watched some NBA playoffs there.
That's true.
Although I finally did convince him to take me to IHOP last time.
Yes.
Oh, really?
So IHOP has been achieved.
Wait, they took you to IHOP, or
Yeah.
you all went together?
We all went together.
They paid.
Okay.
Yeah, we actually stayed at the same hotel last year, so we all went together.
Murder Inn?
No.
No.
Shelter Inn, though. It was very nice.
Oh, that was where he stayed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we stayed in separate hotels
Actually,
as well for those.
I remember that about
listening.
the first year too. That we all stayed at a hotel, and then we went to Brian's to tape the podcast. And our hotel wasn't awful, but it wasn't like super ultimate fantastic.
It was wicked.
And then we went to Brian's, and Brian had like this like awesome like super comfy bed with a duvet and air conditioning and a flat screen TV.
So
and, like,
Momin slept there.
yeah, I just kicked Brian. Actually, yeah. Yeah, so that was our first E3. That was a good time. We learned a lot that time, and I remember how exhausting it was the whole time.
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
Because I was doing double duty as filing reports for 680 as well.
Oh, that's why you were tired.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because
yeah.
of all the reports that you had to do. That
Yeah.
was very time consuming.
Yeah.
Did 2 reports a day.
Yeah.
I actually remember
It's very tough on you.
I
Added
remember,
a lot of work.
I don't
to it.
know
I'm
how-
surprised you survived, actually.
I don't know how you feel about the story being told on air, but I'm going to tell it anyway. I just remember the first night we were there, I woke up and it was like 6:30 in the morning, and I got up and you were on the bed across from me, just staring at me and like, dude, when we booked rooms, you did not tell me you snore at night.
yeah.
And you're like, I've been up writing a blog since 5 o'clock this morning, and I was like, oh, sorry, I didn't know because I sleep alone. I didn't know that I snore. And then the next morning, you were snoring, and I sat up, and I was sitting on my bed, like on my arm, and you got up, and I was like, it's 1-1, and I just rolled over and fell asleep. It's like it's a tie game right now. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
I didn't remember that.
I did.
Good times.
Yeah, it was good times. Anybody else have any stories they want to throw
About
in?
sleeping with each other? Anyone want to bring anything? Steven, you got anything? All right, cool.
Good. There's been a lot of.
Oh, and then the year after that, it was Zach's first E3.
Oh yeah,
with Ubisoft.
Oh yeah.
That was pretty
Yeah,
exciting.
that was a different beast.
And we before we went, we had this whole plan that we were going to interview you to talk about Blacklist, and it was going to be a lot of fun because that was going to be your first time on the show since leaving, and it was the last thing we did at E3 that
yeah, you were the last interview of the day, which was amazing.
we shut down the show.
We did.
I think security had to like remove us from the premises.
We're not done yet.
Yeah.
Oh, you're done. You're done.
And I had no voice.
Yeah.
And I was just like, Splinter sounds awesome. You should check it out.
Yeah.
That probably sounded really good.
But you know what though?
Really
when,
good.
Usually when we air interviews, we'll edit them a bit because you have to cut things down for time and stuff. And you cut off like a bit of the beginning and the end, and you kind of just clean it up. And I remember Calhoun, you and I made the decision that, you know what, let's just air it start to finish.
I remember,
beginning to end.
I listened to that show and I listened. I was like, man, that interview wasn't that good at all. I could have been so much funnier. Like, what the hell?
But we actually got a lot of comments from listeners
Really?
during that episode. People loved it, hearing you back on the show, and the fact that the interview was about Blacklist, and I'm doing it in air quotes because I think like 8 minutes of those 14 minutes were just about nothing.
Yeah.
And just kind of goofing off.
Yeah. That sounds about right.
Yeah. Much like this show is about absolutely nothing right now.
This current episode of Got Game on Sportsnet.
Are there any any like reviews that stand up for you guys that we did aside from It's a Game 6?
I really liked the ongoing war that Calhoun and I had between, I think it was BioShock 2 and Mass Effect 2.
The 9.9.
Yeah, that was
9.9 of Mass Effect.
But
2.
it wasn't even the review, and this is so vivid in my brain. Going back because he spent like 11 minutes like ripping the game and like talking about all the things that were wrong with it, and then at the end he's like 9.9. It's like, what the hell was that? I was going crazy because I couldn't understand the rationale, and you're like, well, I had to point out the things that I didn't like. And it's like, well, yeah, but 9.9. That's like you can't have like the one thing you don't like is that like the pause button isn't responsive enough. That's how you get a 9.9.
I remember we actually got a bunch of tweets after that show had aired from people saying, did Calhoun give Mass Effect 2 a 9.9? I was like, yeah, he gave it a 9.
But that wasn't like an unheard of score
Not
for the game.
Because that game was terrific and worthy of the score.
Yeah. Well, I didn't love it quite as much.
Well, I didn't either, but
yeah. Calhoun did, and that's what's important. And then we were going back and forth about BioShock 2 because I think I gave it, a good score. I love the BioShock franchise, and it was very much more of the same from the original BioShock. And Calhoun's like, because of that, it can't be we'll say 8 or something.
Do you guys remember how you
8.5.
decided to settle the feud?
We fought.
No, you gave me Mass Effect 2 and Ken Bioshock 2 and said, go home, play it this week, and come back and settle the score. And so Ken and I both came back and were like, we both love these games. I don't know what the problem is.
9.9, 8.5.
Yeah.
And then we just settled it. Other moments infamous in this show, when we taped Ken doing the Wii parade. Remember when we went to Nintendo Canada's
We had
headquarters?
never posted that video.
Yeah. No, I think we did tweet it out,
No.
though. Did we not? Oh, man, that's
I don't even know if
sad.
that video still exists.
We taped Ken doing Wii parade, which was fun. And, of course, Calhoun playing NBA Baller Beats, which was awesome.
Captain Coordination. It's a special moment in your
Yeah.
life, eh?
Yeah.
That video has given that Baller Beats video has given us more airtime than maybe anything ever has in the history of this show. It's been a wonderful, wonderful thing. I loved it.
Laughing at the expense of Brian Calhoun.
But you know what? I've always given Calhoun
How
credit
is
for
that
being,
different from any other episode?
and I've always given him credit for being a good sport about things.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Do you want to? Now we have about a minute and a half, almost 2
Parting
minutes.
shots,
Parting
Chubb,
shots.
go ahead.
Parting shots. One for old time's sake, for the first time in 4 years.
I don't want to chew up too much of the time, but it's funny, I reflect back on the show and how much it's meant for me and like Ken said in his letter, what has led to now. And I kind of wish that when I was hosting, I took it a little less seriously because I think, I'd come in and I'd be like, all right, guys, let's do this, best show ever. Let's do it. We had show notes and we had, pre-show meetings and if it didn't go, smoothly, and I didn't feel that, everyone was really like completely on board with everything, I think I got in kind of like this funk and it turned into being like a lot more serious than it should have been. It's a video game show. I think it shines when we're having fun and sort of letting it rip on each other. But that's the one thing that I think about most is that I wish I could have, enjoyed the experience of it while I was in it a little bit more.
Yeah, fair enough. When I went to broadcasting school, I never wanted to be on the air at all. I thought that it was kind of not a waste of time, but I definitely didn't think it was my calling, and so I wanted to be techie. So when you guys asked me to be on the show, I was kind of like, well,
No.
I'd be horrible on the radio. Who would want to listen to me on the radio? I talk like a monotone idiot on the radio. But I've definitely, in the last 2.5 years, really enjoyed myself. And obviously it has to do with the camaraderie that I have with you crazy fellows. And just, the good quality times that we've had together. I've definitely enjoyed my time here.
I think what I like.
Wrap it up, Gavin. Wrap it up.
Wrap it up, Brian. We don't have time for you. We don't have time for you.
No, just how much I think we've all grown from this show, I think is great. Maybe
That much, eh?
no, not much. It was this has thrown me off.
I see, yeah.
You can't do the wrap it up thing to Calhoun. You know that.
Years and years of that has just scarred me.
Yeah.
Now I'm
Runs deep.
staring into the lights.
Those
frozen.
wounds run deep for Calhoun.
Oh, you guys have wounded me pretty deeply, a lot. But we have all grown as a result of this show, and I think clearly I've really improved.
Grown
on
the
there.
most?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think clearly among all of us, I have grown the most and I've become the best.
Well, one of those is true.
Yeah.
No, I think you do a fantastic job.
I do too.
And before we run on, I just want to say I miss you guys. I think you do a fantastic job.
I
as
agree.
well.
And I want to give Calhoun a special shout out because while we all come here and tape the show every week, Calhoun's the one that takes it afterwards and does all the production work and puts up the blog and writes up the blog. And he really is the brains and the heart and soul behind the show, and he does all the work. For me, I think this, I've said it before and I'll say it again, this is the best part of my week. I'm a reporter at 680 and I do it 5 days a week, and I love that. I love it a lot. But usually I'm talking about tough stuff, whether it's death, destruction, stuff about the economy going down. And then I get to come in here every week and talk about really fun stuff and let loose for an hour and hang out with people that I like hanging out with. And so it's always been the best part of my week to come in here and do this 1 hour that we do. And for me professionally, I feel like being here for the last 5 years has helped me grow as a reporter on the air at 680. And I think it's noticeable in my work over there, and I attribute it directly to what I do here. So it's been the best part. And Zach, I'm glad you were able to come back because it's been nice to have you around. And
Thanks for having me. Yeah, it was awesome.
And Rodney,
there's Kenny's picture up there.
Yeah, what's up, Ken?
Yeah, thanks for sending in the email, and it's been good times. And we will see you all at the 10th anniversary. Not next week, just the 10th anniversary. We'll all come back. Steven will take over from here. It'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, Steven. And that's it. That's our 5th anniversary show in the bag. Here's to 5 more. For Brian Calhoun, Christine Chubb, and Zach Cooper.
What up, what up?
I'm Omen Qureshi, and this has been Got Game on Sportsnet 590 The Fan.